Social media has become one of the best sources where to learn how to sew and discover new sewing techniques and hacks. In this video, I want to share 5 hacks that I learned through social media and they absolutely work. So I'll begin with a hack that I saw most recently and that inspired this entire video. When you're working with printed fabric, especially if you're working, let's say, with floral printed fabric, and you want to place the pattern so that it nicely matches the print. If you're using the pattern detail for that, it's very tricky and quite difficult to see how the finished detail will look. So instead of using the pattern detail itself, you can use the cutout of the pattern detail and use that to find the right position for your pattern. Once you found the right position for your pattern, you can again return with the pattern detail and fine-tune the placement with the correct grain line marking. This is such a simple trick, but it works so well. This is a sewing hack that I learned from Lorenza Halligan Instagram account. Second sewing hack that works absolutely amazing is marking the grain line on jeans fabric. Now, grain line marking is very important in all patterns, but especially important when we're working with patterns for items like pants or jeans. If the grain line marking is inaccurate when we're working with pants, they can wear out very fast. So on certain fabrics, even if you're working in the middle of the fabric, seeing the grain line is quite simple if the weave is clear. But if you're cutting fabrics like denim, the weave makes it very tricky to find the grain line in the middle of the fabric. So I want to share a hack that I learned from one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Cat Waters. Before she starts cutting jeans, she marks parallel lines parallel to the selvage on the denim fabric. The lines are spaced about 15-20 centimeters. And this way, even if you're positioning the pattern detail in the middle of the fabric, you can very clearly see where the grain line marking is. It's such a simple solution for very tricky fabric. Now again, not all fabrics will require such accurate grain line marking, but for tricky fabrics like denim, this trick is such a savior. Now this third hack, I've been using it for such a long time. I don't even remember where I learned it from, but it's about saving serger threads. So whenever I'm working with a very specific color, maybe neon, maybe pink color, so something that I know that I won't be using a lot, instead of buying 4 serger threads, I buy just 1 thread and then use 3 spare bobbins to wind the thread on it and then thread my serger with the bobbins and 1 spool. Now because the looper threads uses the most thread, this is where I place my spool. Now of course bobbins do not hold as much thread as a spool, so you have to keep your eye on the bobbin to see if it doesn't run out when you're serging. But other than that, this is a great hack that will save you so much money on threads. Fourth sewing hack is about this little button on the presser foot. Now for a very long time I didn't know what it's supposed to do, but when you're working with very bulky fabrics and when you want to sew through bulky seam connection, the presser foot starts to rise up. And when it does that, it's getting tricky to sew. So when the presser foot is going near the bulky seam connection and it's starting to raise, then you want to go ahead and using your finger, lift the presser foot, and when it's lifted, push that button in. This will lock the presser foot in the parallel position to the metal plate under the presser foot, and it will make sewing through bulky seam connection so much easier. Once you sew past the bulky seam connection, the button unlocks itself and the presser foot moves as usual. Now, if your presser foot does not have this button, that is not a problem. And when you're moving towards that bulky seam connection, raise the presser foot and put something behind it. It can be either a seam jumper, it can be a button, it can be a piece of thick paper, or it can be multiple layers of fabric. Push it under the presser foot edge to elevate it nicely and then sew through the bulky seam connection. Whichever way you choose to use, this hack does work, and it will make sewing through bulky seam connections so much easier. Fifth and final sewing hack I want to share today is actually not a hack, it's a technique, but when I first saw it on social media, I couldn't believe it until I tried it myself, and it's velvet embossing. So the trick here is very simple. All you need is a velvet fabric, which is made from synthetic fiber. You also need a silicone stamp, a water bottle, and an iron. Spray a little bit of water on the stamp, put your velvet fabric with the hairy side facing down on the stamp, then take your iron, put it on top and hold for about 10 to 20 seconds. Do not use steam, and after the 10 seconds pass, lift the iron and see if there are any watermarks left. If the fabric is not dry, put the iron down and hold it until the fabric is completely dry. Then lift the fabric, remove the stamp, and you have created this absolutely gorgeous stamp on the fabric. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's such a simple and quick way how to add fantastic detail to any design that you're working on. This velvet embossing will last even after wash. This is one detail that I created and then washed in the washing machine, and as you can see, the embossing remained in place. If you have a velvet piece at home and if you have a rubber or silicone stamp, I highly recommend giving this technique a try. You will see how quick and fantastic it is. So here are all sewing hacks that I wanted to share in today's video. If you know a good sewing hack, leave it in the comment section down below. I would love to read it. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you next time. Bye!